Yo, what's up everybody? It's Manga Mike here and we're back with yet another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a how to draw video, it's been a really long time, but I'm going to do the face from the front and do both male and female characters. And I'm going to kind of talk your way through kind of how you would make a face look more masculine or feminine. And I'm going to give you the proportions and everything like that for both faces. Alright, let's get started. Alrighty, so I'm going to have my head down in the lower left-hand corner so that you can see my face as I'm drawing faces, and it doesn't get too boring for you just watching one or the other. So, the thing that I really like to do with my heads and faces at this point is I like to do it as a cube. And the reason for that is because it's a little easier, at least in my brain, to visualize the perspective of the face when it's in a cube rather than a sphere. Now, I will kind of switch back and forth myself between Loomis and this cube method, but again, I'm going to use the cube method in these examples. So the first thing is you're going to take the face, and when you're doing your face in the cube form, it's a third for the, you're going to start your cube, and you're going to split that front face in half, both vertically and horizontally, and then you're going to go ahead and end the back part of the cube, which is the top face. After you do that, then you're going to take one of those thirds, the middle third, and you're going to take that and you're going to bounce it down here, and that's going to give you where the bottom of the chin is. Alright, so now you're going to taper down to about right here, and right here is about a third of this bottom third. I didn't put that measurement in here. I kind of go back and put measurements in. I did forget to do this one. So this bottom third right here is going to be where the your two lips meet, but right in here is also, if you can see my fingers, it's going to be the exact same spot in which it starts to taper, and that is because our mouths open and close right here, which is why our lips meet right there, right? So that's where you're going to get that taper down to the bottom of the jaw. The other measurement that I don't explicitly say in this video, but it's pretty simple, is your ear. So if you can look right here, my ear is about, it's not perfect, but it's about from here to here, right? So it's that middle third, which is why I kind of forgot to put the measurement on there. But that middle third is where the top of your ear and the bottom of your ear are going to go, all right? So the other thing that I didn't mention earlier that's really important, and you saw that I already drew it, is your neck. So you always want to draw necks when you're doing faces and heads because it's just really good practice, and you don't want just a floating head, right? You want a floating head with a neck. So that's the other thing, and you can go ahead and also put this muscle right here, which is called a sternocleidomastoid muscle. It's kind of baseball bat shaped, and it wraps down to where your clavicles are, basically your collarbone. So the next measurement is your eye socket. Your eye socket from top to bottom is going to be at about half of that middle third that we've been talking about before. So that's a really good measurement to remember, because your eyeball isn't going to take up that entire space, but most of it. So that would mean, as you can see, I'm drawing the male character, the actual part of your eye that you can see is going to be much smaller than even that. So if you take that eye socket and you split it in half again, you get right in here, and that's where this piece right here of your face is called the keystone. So the keystone is really important because it's going to help you distinguish your characters from other characters. The bigger the keystone, the wider your eyes are, and the more distinctive that character is going to look, or it can go the opposite way and be distinctive that way as well. So the other measurement that's important is the bottom line of that second third. That is where your nose is going to rest as well. And then I kind of mentioned this already, but where your lips are going to lie is if you take that bottom third and you split it into thirds, that first line that you split into thirds with right here is where your lips meet, and that's where you're going to draw your lips and your mouth, okay? And I'm kind of actually doing that right now on screen, so that's great. The only other real measurement that I can think of that's important is your eyes, right? So if you split this part up into thirds. So if you go from the edge of the sockets right here and you split it into thirds, that's about where your eyes are going to rest, and the space in between your eyes. So basically, if you want to simplify that a little more, the eye itself is one eye's length in between before it gets to the next eye. All right. So we're moving on to the female character now. The female character, the first thing that I like to do is I like to use a cube that's a little bit wider than it is tall. And the reason for that is because female characters, or females just in general, when you're drawing that, you want to accentuate some of those more feminine looking characteristics. And one of the more feminine looking characteristics is actually squishing the face down a little bit. That's also the same thing that you would do with a younger character, right? Things are a little bit more compact. So not only is this a tutorial on male and female faces, but it's also more of a tutorial on older and younger faces as well. So keep that in mind when you want to make a character seem a little younger. Other than that though, the measurements and everything is pretty similar. Some of the bigger differences that you're going to see that I'll probably draw, or I am going to draw actually, are that the eyes are going to take up a little bit more space. Sometimes you can make this bottom third slightly shorter. The features themselves are also going to be a little less sharp. You want to make them a little more rounded, because sharp, it makes characters look a little bit more masculine for the most part, whereas round makes them look a little younger or a little more feminine. So you can kind of see me doing that right here. The next thing is the neck that you can see me drawing right now. Your neck for your female characters is going to be much thinner than it is for the male characters. And the reason for that is just typically males have slightly more muscle mass on average than females do on average. So that would even kind of, you know, go towards the neck a little bit too, because most of our mass on our neck is actually this muscle right here, which is, like I said earlier, the sternocleidomastoid. So yeah, as you can see now, I'm splitting that section, that middle section, in half again, and that's giving us that distance between the top of the brow and the bottom of the eye socket. And then if you split that in half again, that's kind of where the eyeballs are going to, the midline for the eyeballs, I should say. And again, for female characters, you're going to want to make that eye slightly bigger, or at least the visible part of the eye slightly bigger. And then the top of the lashes are going to be a little darker. And that's just because typically females do have slightly thicker eyelashes and longer eyelashes as well. Specifically that upper eyelash. The bottom one, we don't typically get too much on the bottom, but you can even draw that for females and leave it out for males, and that'll help kind of distinguish your characters from male to female as well. And yeah, as you can see, like, I take up almost that entire space for my female face, and I do that on purpose because I want that character to look like very, very feminine, especially for the kind of demo that I'm having for you right now. The only other things that are really noteworthy are that the nose overall is slightly smaller, typically for females, than it is for males. Obviously, that is going to differ from race and things like that, and just person. And I do like to draw my female lips. I do both lips pretty full, but female lips I typically make a little bigger. That makes the female face look slightly more attractive, but it also gives you that space to do like lipstick and things like that, and add some shine and sheen to the lips for the female characters. And one of the corrections, or a couple of the corrections that you're going to see me make to this face, is I do make the nose slightly higher, and I also bring with that the lips, and then I chop a little bit of the jaw down just slightly, and that's again to kind of give you that squishing effect. If I wouldn't have done that, it still would have looked like a pretty feminine character. It's just that the character would have looked a little feminine, but also slightly more mature, right? Probably in her adulthood, rather than being what we see typically in shonen style manga, which is a character that's between probably the ages of like 10 and 15 to 18, right? So I'm trying to like kind of reorganize that, and really that's about it. So I'm going to kind of wrap up here. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Tell me if you like this this kind of format where it's me drawing and then also me in the bottom, kind of doing a voiceover of what's happening. Probably in the future, as I get more comfortable with my live streams and things like that, I'll probably do it more live, like talking as I'm drawing, because it's what I do in my live streams too. But I just gotta get a little more comfortable with that before I'm happy doing that with my videos that I post. But that's really about it. I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope that you learned something. I'll do in the future videos on this cube method and kind of tilting it in different perspectives and drawing the face that way. But other than that, I'm Manga Mike, and I'm out.